Hey, it's Dr. Amanda with Straightsmile Solutions, straightsmilesolutions.com, and we're going to do a video all about custom orthognathic surgery versus traditional. And this is not new, but it's really fascinating. And I'm noticing that with the pediatric dentist, I just love this. I'm grabbing my popcorn. I'm sitting here like watching the camps fight. This is great. Not really stirring the pot, but I'm just enjoying it. This is stuff I saw happening 20 years ago, and finally society is catching up and seeing the dichotomy, the collusion, just whatever is going on in orthodontics. Society's seeing it, and the mamas are seeing it. And now the mamas are seeing it, and they're on Reddit, and they're doing their blogs, and all these hygienists are going into OMT and Mayo, and I'm eating my popcorn. I'm not stirring the pot, but I'm eating my popcorn, watching other people stir the pot. Anyways, I'm just making clarifying videos because the amount of questions I'm getting from doctors is nonstop. It has ramped up exponentially. So I know what's the buzz because I get questions. And there's also questions in my YouTube channel, in my Instagram, everywhere. Like if I'm getting 30 questions a day about airway, I just tell them, go to my videos, go take a look. I'll make another video to answer your question. And certainly consumers, I don't talk to consumers. So I tell them to go find their orthodontist, go talk to their dentist. When their dentist, call me. Okay. So anyways, so there's two different types of orthognathic surgery. There always has been, there's been same thing with any surgery. You can have more custom ones where things are made custom for you. And now with 3D printing of metal and plastic and other stuff, you can have things done way more accurately. So if you don't have to go to the cookie cutter approach, then usually there's less prep work that's done, just to explain it to you. Now, obviously price point's gonna be more. So let's talk a little bit more. And the reason why I'm getting really excited about this is there's starting to be more CE courses for this. This is the oral surgery I'm interested in, because this oral surgery actually can be profitable, actually makes people look incredible. I've been like really struggling with oral surgery outcomes just because I feel like it takes the patients 2 to 3 years in braces to even get there, and they're so burnt out, and then it's a rough process, and then they finish and we just kind of lose the spark. And then I found out with custom, you can actually do the big movements ahead of time. I think that's super important. And I actually would love to get into this space. I would love to have a practice where I really wasn't the tooth straightener technician, where I only did the medicalized phase 1 interceptive stuff and the custom surgery. That's what I want to do. Listen, blink and sleep. Doing the tooth straightening stuff is so easy and so boring. It's literally boring for me. I can do it with my eyes closed. I do this stuff every day. I teach you guys how to do it. It's not hard. Tooth straightening is easy. Super easy. That's why every GP is doing now. Doesn't mean they're doing it well, but they're doing it. It's not hard. Okay, so for like 95% of patients, as long as you start early enough, it's so easy now with digital treatment planning. It's set it and forget it. Easy profits, you know? Um, and no, you really can't be profitable unless you do ridiculous amounts of volumes in a private practice nowadays. Anyways, okay, so let's get into more about custom versus regular costs, how you get paid, everything, what people pay. So basically, regular orthodontic surgery, we already kind of talked about this. We're using traditional models, digital tracings, stock standard titanium plates that are often bent during surgery. We do 2 or 3 years usually of braces or Invisalign first. Then we usually put on surgical braces. Sometimes we don't have to with the plates, but that's basically how that works. Now, custom is different. Custom is 100% patient specific, where you're using 3D printed plates and guides. And you often can do the surgery earlier, or sometimes you can do it before you even put braces or start aligners, which is awesome, right? And it's a completely face-focused setup. They're not just treating to the cephalometric norms, which I think is phenomenal, because I started noticing when they treated to the norms, the faces just looked flat. They didn't look good. And now that they're doing custom, holy cow, I see people, same thing, they're doing custom facelifts too. Holy cow, like it looks so much better than the cookie cutter approach. It looks great. So orthodontists do get paid more for custom, and that's the whole reason I honestly didn't even get into I stopped doing surgery cases, shortly out of residency, because I was like, why? This is so not worth my time. I do not get compensated for this at all. I mean, it's a surgery case, it's custom or semi-custom, it's going to take me 5 to 10 more times doctor time than a regular tooth straightening case. So yeah, you should get paid 5 to 10 times more, but that's not how it works. You only get paid like 20% more if you're taking insurance. Now, if you're taking cash, that's a different story. But then again, I don't know about that because I don't love the idea of having a process that only rich people can pay for. Like, that's just not what I'm all about. So, I mean, again, most surgeries could be avoided if people addressed habits underlying myo conditions at the right age, which is very, very young in utero. Not utero, but babies, like little things. I'm not saying we're doing orthodontics, but just fix the nasal breathing. It's not that hard. Make sure they're eating properly. Okay, so payment price, I would say it looks like, according to chat, traditional, they're getting paid between 6 and 9 grand. For custom, 9 to 12 grand. That's just for the orthodontist, okay? And insurance is not paying that. Like, that's what we charge. Insurance might pay their regular $1,500. So that means out of pocket, the parents are paying 10 to 12 grand. And that's just for the orthodontic price. There's a whole nother price for the surgeon, for the hospital, for everything else, that surgery center. Okay. So whether or not medical insurance is paying for that portion, that's up to the surgeon, whether they can do it. Kaiser sometimes does, but I doubt they're paying for custom. They're not paying for custom. I seriously doubt that. Yeah, 8 to 11 for custom. But it takes so much more doctor out. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit more about how you'd get your money for those cases if you were the orthodontist. So because insurance pays so little, you definitely would want to have a down payment of at least a couple thousand. Then you can have financing contracts for the rest. I just, oral surgery teeth moves completely different than when you move teeth for traditional orthodontics, because you're actually doing the opposite. You're removing the compensation so that when you do the surgery, everything fills out. So I don't like that idea. And that was also a huge issue for me doing surgery cases is they were on financing. A lot of times they would stop paying and then the case would get stalled, and we're doing things the wrong way. It's completely different. I personally am ethically opposed to doing any oral surgery case unless they've paid everything up front, unless they're like super locked in, including I want the medical locked in too, because I've had it way too many times where I'd start a surgery case. Like, let's put it this way. Every single surgery case I started in private practice got canceled. And then I have to go in and completely undo all the movements I did. And a lot of times they were damaged because we're round tripping. That's why I'm ethically opposed to surgery cases that could potentially be canceled. So that's an issue, right? So just in terms of how it's compensated. All right. So whether or not you're going to do surgery first and custom or not, really, it comes down to the surgeon's experience, the experience of the orthodontist, and also price point is super important, and whether or not medical insurance is paying. Like I said, I seriously doubt medical insurance is going to pay for custom, but I don't know. Oral surgeons that do these procedures, just to let you know, they could be just DDSs with a 4-year oral surgery degree, but usually they're the MD if they have the hospital privileges. Let's see. Although I'm very close to one of our MD oral surgeons here in our state, and he does them in his office, which is pretty cool. Okay, what else? Custom surgery cases, in terms of payment breakdown for the custom surgery cases, they're going to, like I said, that price is going to be 8 to 12, 8 to 11. Usually they're going to have a much more upfront fee for planning, which makes more sense to me. It says that usually they charge at least closer to 4 to 5,000 for the initial planning, which this makes sense. If I'm going to put hours into planning something, and then that was the other issue. We'd spend hours planning something and then it just never happened. And it says that you will need to sit down with the oral surgeon, as well as the surgical guide planner, and sit down with the teams and get everything set, and that the lab manufacturing for the plates and the surgical guides could be another 3 or 4,000 on top of what they're paying you. So they may paying you 8 to 11, 8 to 12, but then they also have to pay for their hardware. So that, just like anything else, the planning guides, the hardware is something that they're going to have to pay for separately. So it's another fee for the parents. So basically now out of pocket, they're paying between 12 and 16 grand for custom. And that has nothing to even do with the surgery or the hospital fees. So it is for people who have the income in order to pay for it. And I think that's incredible. You've seen some custom surgery pictures, really, really cool stuff. It's just not something the average person can afford, which is the whole reason I'm putting all this content about airway, myo, out there, so that mamas can have an idea that you can feed your child better, you can do things at home, just keep your eye out for concerns and habits that are happening. And there might be people that can address habits earlier instead of waiting till age 12. That's all I'm saying, and the child's done growing. I just hope that at least the awareness is out there, and that people can go to their own pediatrician and their own dentist and know that there's choices that they could make for themselves that work better for their families. That's it. All right, thanks.